Today I'm going to be talking about Ozzy Osbourne. I've been an Ozzy Osbourne fan for a long time, and I'm not going to specifically do an album review for Patient Number 9. I'm not really wild about Patient Number 9. I don't know, corny title. I'll get into Number 9 in a little bit. I'm going to try to make this quick, try to do as least amount of editing as possible. I've always loved Ozzy Osbourne and his songs and the music that the other guys created, the lyrics that Bob Daisley wrote, and everything about the whole Ozzy thing. I think his songs are great. They have such catchy riffs, and they're heavy, and the songs have, songs have meaning, and then they're heavy, and he does ballads. He did all kinds of, stuff. He wasn't afraid to mix the heavy with the ballads and all that other stuff, or weaker, slower songs, whatever the heck you want to call it. I've always liked that. And Ozzy's just, of course, one of those I mentioned. If you haven't seen my favorite vocalist video, where you hear Ozzy Osbourne sing, you're like, that's Ozzy Osbourne. That's one of the other things. He has such a unique voice. And I didn't like him at first when I first heard him. The first song I heard by him was probably the live Iron Man version off of Live Evil. And then, of course, I heard Bark at the Moon and like once or something. And I heard a couple of the songs that I didn't become a fan until 1986. The Ultimate Sin, which is the last video I did, one of my first review videos I ever did for The Ultimate Sin, because that was a special album to me. So, once again, I'm not going to be ranking any of the Ozzy albums. You want to see the ranking? Right here, with the exception of The Ultimate Sin before Bark at the Moon. You put The Ultimate Sin before Bark at the Moon, and that's how it is, from the best to the worst. Not saying his other later stuff is actually bad, because I do like some stuff off Osmosis and stuff. It's one of those things where Ozzy's been always like misunderstood by people, and people who didn't like him and don't know him and didn't actually sit down and really like read the lyrics and everything. Even some of the newer fans, and even fans back then, probably didn't really fully understand it. And just thought it was all, So the songs were about peace. So, with peace and all kinds of other good stuff, how was he a Prince of Darkness? He appeared to be evil, but then was good. Kind of the opposite what some other people are. No mascots, even though that they use the bat all the time in these things. And he's even adapted to that, but he's always had no mascot. You can see on every single one of his albums, he's kind of like, screw mascot, I'll use myself. Ozzy Osbourne has always been his own mascot. The Ozzy Osbourne album, Blizzard of Oz. Now this is really cool because this first one, Randy Rhoads, of course. Bob Daisley even plays actually bass on this. And okay. From March 22nd to April 19th. That's like less than a month. And they recorded this album. Shows you the good musicianship that was on this album. And you've always heard about Randy Rhoads, how Randy Rhoads went into the studio and he nailed it in like 1 or 2 takes. Probably like 2 or 3 takes, but several songs, probably 1 take. I don't know. We didn't really get to hear too many other specific Randy Rhoads interviews, of course, later on, which would have been good. And, that whole story. Suicide Solution, Steal Away the Night. I think the only song I really don't like off Blizzard of Oz is No Bone Movies. I don't think that's really great. I'm not really wild about the new album. I don't really like Ordinary Man either. There's a couple of okay songs. This is where he's written mediocre songs is within the last 10 to 15 years. That's for dang sure. But I became a fan during the 80s. And then during that time is when the guitars were rocking and heavy, and there was guitar solos and stuff like that. And despite the fact that it was a little bit glammy and all that other stuff, and Ozzy doesn't like it, I really love The Ultimate Sin. As you see the little picture of it up here. Here is the album, The Ultimate Sin, Lightning Strikes, Killer of Giants, Shot in the Dark, The Ultimate Sin. I mean, just the stuff on here is just amazing. And of course Phil Suzanne is playing bass on this, and then of course you know the rest of the lineup. And this is with Jake Lee, of course, and I'll get to Jake Lee in a minute. The Ultimate Sin, the ultimate album from Ozzy Osbourne. I think that's when I first started getting into Ozzy. So many of you will disagree, even probably some newer fans might not love this album, but this was it for me. And it's interesting too, because I'm reading some comments on the Patient Number 9 songs where people are becoming fans right now. So that's kind of interesting. You have a whole back catalog to check out. Again, I love those songs and some people don't. Even Ozzy Osbourne himself doesn't really like those songs or wants to watch those videos. He cringes, I guess, because of the way he looked and just everything about that time because of the drug and alcohol use, I guess. But he also did drugs and alcohol and all that other stuff during that time, during the first couple of albums. But here's that little clip.
So fucking lame. So next, come on. Next!
What are you doing?
Go walk around and fucking watch your shit.
Another interesting album was Randy Rhoads' Tribute. And this one came out in 1987. It was a year after The Ultimate Sin. And it was just like what I was saying before. You know, once somebody becomes an Ozzy Osbourne fan, and sometimes it's with the newest album, like I did with The Ultimate Sin, you want to go back and you want to start checking out the older catalog and all that stuff. So I did that a little bit, but of course during the time I was listening to a lot of other newer stuff at the time. But this came out in 1987, and it was cool because I did not know a lot of songs off of here. They released a video for this, Crazy Train, which of course it was just a visual of Ozzy just singing, and just all these like clips and pictures, flash Osbourne Randy Rhoads Tribute. And it was a really good way for newer fans like me to check out, hey, let's check out these older songs. And even though they were live versions, they were good live versions, we found out and really knew a little bit more about Randy Rhoads. Hello, my name is Ray. Today I'm here to tell you that today's video is sponsored by the DVS Shoe Company. Which it's not really, but there is a such thing as Ozzy Osbourne shoes. So you have an Ozzy Osbourne shirt, and they do make Ozzy Osbourne shoes. Alright, so if you can see it, I'm wearing the Ultimate Sin shirt, and I ordered one of these because I haven't had one in years. I did have one in 1986. I'll try to find a picture of it. It was the white one with the black sleeves, and I have no idea what the heck I did with that. I should have never gotten rid of that. I wish I still had it. Of course, it wouldn't fit me now, that's for dang sure. But anyways, that's why I got it. One of my Ozzy Osbourne's Down to Earth, a really cool cover on that. I really like that. That's a neat one. Okay, so in conclusion here, Ozzy Osbourne has put out another album. Now, I'm not trying to bash, insult, or criticize fans. A lot of people are, I guess, newer and younger fans, but I think Ozzy should retire. I'm totally for that. Here's what I think. Bands like AC/DC, Kiss, and Ozzy, and all those legendary bands that have already left their mark on music and will be remembered forever, should just retire. That's what they should do. They should just not tour. Now, what I mean by retire is, I mean retire from touring. That takes a lot out on you. So what they should do is they should record albums and do what the Beatles did. The Beatles quit touring, and then they did like 3 or 4 more albums without even touring. You don't need to tour. Once again, who cares about the money? These bands got money. These bands have notoriety and are already at legendary status. So they might as well just retire and just do albums. I mean, it's relatively easy to do an album. You only have to go in once in a while, do a song a day, take 2 or 3 days to do a song. Within a month, you'd have the album. As far as the vocals go, the other musicians, of course, a lot of musicians are either younger and then can handle it. And so you work at a leisure pace, and it would just make more sense. That's what they should do. That's what's going to leave behind the legacy. See this custom-made tapestry that I got? This is what it's about. And think about it. Ozzy has released 2 albums so far in recent years without even really touring. He's done a couple of shows. He's done 2 or 3 shows. He did that halftime thing, and then he did some other thing. So see what I mean? He doesn't really have to tour. People are going to buy the album. People are going to know the name. They're going to know and recognize the name, and they're going to buy the dang album. There you go. It would just take a lot less stress off him. If you're a real Ozzy fan, you'd actually want him around longer and care about his health. He can't really physically do it. A lot of these guys can't anymore. It's just a simple fact. Okay. So, of course, another odd news is that they're moving back to England. Of course, I hear they're moving back to England, which is, I guess, good. They should have did it probably several years beforehand. A wicked lightning flash view on patient number 9. Just like with Ordinary Man, I really wasn't wild about it. The songs are, as in Ozzy's words, mediocre songs. I don't really hear anything incredible. I hear a lot of grinding and chugging from Zakk Wylde. Zakk Wylde's good, don't get me wrong. But it's just, and some of the songs are just, they're not exciting. They're definitely not exciting. I mean, I think that's really cool and good, the fact that he got Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton to perform on the album with Zakk Wylde, and then that guy from, I was about to say band here, but the guy from Pearl Jam, I forgot his name, something. Anyways, so that was good that he used different musicians and everything, and you know, I guess spices up the album, puts a little bit more variety into it. That is a good thing, and that's awesome. And of course, even Tony Iommi. I almost forgot. Tony Iommi is playing on an Ozzy Osbourne album, and for the first time ever on any Ozzy solo album. So that's interesting, and that's good too. But there's one of the guitarists I would have liked to have seen him do a full project with, or if not, even if he was on this newest album for one song, and that's Jakey Lee. Once again, I know the 80s thing's coming on, but Jakey Lee, it would have been awesome. There would have been a lot of fans, older fans, like me, who would have been like, hey, you know what? Yes, and finally, Ozzy doing a song with Jakey Lee on guitar. That would have been awesome, but didn't happen. Don't know if we'll ever see that. God bless Ozzy Osbourne. I love Ozzy Osbourne. I love his albums. I hope he does several more. I hope the next one's a little bit more exciting. I just don't love number 9. I gotta listen to it more, but, you know, oh well, not everybody's gonna like it. And if you like it, and if you're a new Ozzy fan, that's great. Congratulations to you, and that's cool. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.